Hello again, I am Fluff, back in War Thunder, and this time I'm going to be extolling the virtues of the P40E Kittyhawk, which is a rank 4 fighter that you can pick up in the US line. The gameplay video itself is taken from a historical battles match I played in which we were pitted against the Russians, a match that went particularly well for me, taking a toll of 2 Yak 9Ts, a Lag 3 and an IL 2, and standing as proof that having a nice plane is all well and good, but if you aren't familiar with all its little quirks and how to get the best out of it, you won't necessarily beat someone who's very familiar with their plane. As regards standout features with the P40, the 650 cal machine guns it's toting probably comes to mind as one of the first notable things. It's also got a pretty generous amount of ammunition because you've got 2,550 rounds across those 6 guns. That means you can afford to sit on the trigger a little bit more than guys who have got a couple of machine guns and a cannon maybe. For competition of an equal rank among the other nations, you'd be looking at something like an MC-202, a HE-112B0, which does actually have cannons, or a Spitfire Mark I. However, with the way the matchmaker works, especially in historical and above, you can safely expect, if you queue up in your Kittyhawk, to be facing some really quite powerful machines. You might even be looking at rank 9 or higher, depending on just how much stuff there is available in the queue. A couple of other little points that stand up in its favour include the ability to mount bombs. You can get a small, yes, but nonetheless you can still carry bombs and drop them on an armoured convoy or something. And beyond that, you can also handle going at a decent speed. You can get fairly close to 600 kilometers an hour before the airframe really starts to let you know it's unhappy. Just don't expect a great deal of manoeuvrability once you're pushing that upper limit, but you nonetheless can dive away or onto something fairly handily if you really want to. As a side note with this thing, that's probably a good way of initiating your attack. As far as economy concerns, this thing is very cheap to run, which is a huge plus in its favour if you're looking for various planes you can fly in order to try and make a profit. And as far as I'm concerned, that alone earns it regular showings in my lineup for historical and full real battles where the repair prices are inflated. Bear in mind though that with those game modes you are only running one plane at a time, so it does kind of balance out. So it's decent when it comes to manoeuvring. It can handle itself as regards diving onto things. Might not be the best plane when it comes to trying to climb out. There are plenty of other planes that will be able to keep up with you in a climb, no matter what you do, and you know, you'll very quickly stall out if you try to make a very extreme play in that particular field. Combined with those guns, that means you've got something that is very, very able to put the hurting on a careless opponent. And you may find people don't really take you as seriously as, you know, the big Corsairs, or especially your cannon-armed American planes like your King Cobras and your Air Cobras. And you know, yeah, those are some very nice and fancy planes and they look very cool, but the P40 is definitely not a plane you want to simply grind through and then forget about forever after. It's a brilliant bit of kit in the US research tree, and is well worth a place in the rotation method that many people use of running a plane until it is wrecked and then switching to the next one. A little tip on something to watch out for is if you're not using the instructor, be very careful when you are trying to pull a hard turning manoeuvre in this particular plane, because it's a bit like the MC-202 and it will, if you try to turn too hard without enough speed, it's very likely to just do a barrel roll essentially and suddenly lose a lot of airspeed, and if you're not very careful at that point you can put it straight into a spin. My advice is keep an eye out for that, although after you've been through it a few times you'll be knowing what to look for and will probably be able to account for it anyway. So the P40 is a cheap lower rank plane with 650 cals, meaning you get some decent armament out of it, and it's also got decent handling. It's decent and quite an enjoyable plane to fly. Definitely a nice plane if you're looking for a starting US lineup or as part of a historical battle or full real battle rotation, and also has quite good potential as a lower level earning plane if you're looking to make some of the silver credits. Remains one of my favourites so far. That's all from me for now though, so thank you for watching and take care.